What is psychology?
Why would I know?
Do you want to know?
You can learn about psychology or stick to this silly thing.
Psychology. Thanks. Oh, where'd she go?
Psychology.
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 It's a science. Chapter 1. What is psychology? Chapter 1. Psychology is a scientific study of human behavior and the mental process. Psychology comes from the breakup of psych, mind and soul, and logia, to study. But psychology started before we even knew. Aristotle, from 384 BC to 322 BC, created the universal law that people seek pleasure and avoid pain, in stating that we want joy but avoid burdens. Then came Hippocrates from 460 BC to 375 BC. He suggested that there could be biological reasons for behavior, implying you're naughty. It's not because you're a bad kid, but there's an issue in a bad environment. William James, 1842 to 1920. He invented functionalism and how mental processes help organisms adapt to their environment. Adaptive behaviors are learned because they become habits. B.F. Skinner, 1904 to 1990. He had positive and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement meaning that you build up, not tear down. Negative reinforcement meaning you take away the bad and replace it with good. So, psychology is the study of human mind and behavior, which behavior being an action you can see, like crying, and an action you don't see, which is called cognitive, like dreaming. Biological. It shows the effects of humans' brain and human behavior. Evolutionary. That focuses on the evolution of behavior and mental processes. Cognitive. Focuses on the role of our thoughts and behavior. And humanistic. That stresses the human capacity for self-fulfillment.
That's not all, honey bun.
There's more. I'm never gonna learn this all.
You don't have to know it all. You just have to know it.
Chapter 2. Psychological research. You start by forming a research question, then a hypothesis, then you test the hypothesis, analyze the results, and draw conclusions. Research questions are best directed towards observable behaviors, like what does TV violence have on viewers? How does seeing friends impact someone's happiness? How does being socially isolated affect anxiety? Then you form a hypothesis. A hypothesis is an educated guess that can be tested by research. Example, if someone watches violent movies, then they will become aggressive towards others. Ooh. Testing the hypothesis. All hypotheses must be tested to examine the outcomes. If someone is more hyper in social events, then they will be socially anxious around people. This can be tested by monitoring heart rate in groups alone and also in their... You test by creating scenarios. A random sample is individuals chosen by chance. Stratified is subgroups in the population placed proportionately. A testing method is the use of psychology to learn about human behavior. Case study method, a research approach to use generic, in-depth, multifaceted information. Methods of observation, use of psychological tests to learn about human behavior. Advantages, convenient method to gain insight into an individual's ability or behavior. Disadvantages, does not provide a complete representation of an individual's true abilities or personality. Variables, factors that can vary or change. An independent variable, the factor that researchers manipulate to determine its effects. Dependent variable, depends on the independent variable. Experimental group, the members of the study who receive the treatment. Control group, do not receive treatment. Single blind study, participants don't know whether they are in the experimental group or the control group. One group receives a drug and the second group receives a drug they are told is a placebo. The double-blind study. Both participants and researchers do not know whether they are in the experimental group or the control group. An organizer that is not involved with the study keeps track of the groups.
Sleep and drugs. Chapter 4.
We have the circadian rhythm, a regular rhythm of biological processes, the most studied in the sleep-wake cycle. 24 hours roughly, and may be lengthened to 25 hours due to technology. Dang. Sleep stages. Brainwave patterns. Beta, short and quick when we are awake and alert. Alpha, slower than beta when we are drowsy. Theta, slower than alpha when we first fall asleep. And delta, slowest when we are in deep sleep. Stage 1, light sleep. Stage 2, at least 50% of a night's sleep. Stage 3, deep sleep, 20% of a night's sleep. Stage 4, REM, rapid eye movement, increases dream, 90 minutes after you fall asleep. Sleep problems, insomnia. Definition is difficulty falling asleep, more likely to have racing mind and at bedtime. Increases during times of anxiety or stress. Trying to fall asleep makes it hard to sleep. Coping, sleeping pills. Psychologists recommend technique, tense muscle then release. Avoid worrying in bed, a sleep routine, and music. Night times and night terrors. Upsetting events can produce nightmares. Night terrors are severe nightmares. Feeling heart race, racing for air, sit up, talk, thrash around. Terrors tend to occur during deep sleep, stages 3 and 4. Nightmares occur during REM sleep. Sleepwalking generally do not remember what they had done after awakening. No evidence that sleepwalkers become violent or aggressive if they are evaluated. Prone to hurting themselves during sleepwalking session should be monitored. Sleep apnea. Definition, breathing interruption that occurs during sleep. Occurs when a person's airway is blocked, often accompanies snoring. Nasal mash that provided during sleepy air helps prevent breathing interruptions. Associate with obesity, prevent breathing interruptions. Associate with obesity and can lead to high blood sugar, heart attack, and stress. Narcolepsy. Definition is a sleep condition where people suddenly fall asleep. Person experiences sudden REM sleep. Can be dangerous, but you can take drug therapy and frequent naps to treat it. Sleep tips. Be consistent, go to bed at the same time each night, and get up at the same time. Drugs in psychology. Depressants, stimulants, hallucinogens. Depressants, Depressants cause a loss of inhibitions and confusion, like alcohol. Narcotics give you a relief from pain but sleepiness and lung damage, like stimulants and nicotine. Hallucinogens like LSD will give you hallucinations but cause outbursts on your health. 3 types of drug treatment: detoxification, removal of harmful substances from the body; maintenance programs, controlled amounts of drugs given to participants; counseling, group or individual sessions; and support groups, people with similar problems sharing common experiences. Pause. Patterns of feelings, motives, and behaviors that set people apart from another. A trait is an aspect of personality considered to be reasonably stable. Okay. The psychoanalytic approach. Sigmund Freud again. Id, ego, superego. Id. Behaves like a stereotypical 2-year-old. I want, and I want it now. Ego. Stands for reason and good sense. Develops because a child discovers their needs cannot be immediately met. Superego. Moral principle. By incorporating the standards and values of our parents and community, our moral sense is created. Ego seeks to balance the id's demand, and the superego warrants. Mechanisms. Repression. Pushes away anxiety, producing ideas into the unconscious. Rationalization. Use of self-deception to justify unacceptable behaviors. Regression. During time of stress, the return for information behavior that is characteristic of an early stage of development. Projection. People seeking their own faults in other people to avoid acceptance of their impulses or behaviors. What is the learning approach? Behaviorism. Socialization, the process by which people learn the socially desirable behaviors of their culture and adapt them as part of their personalities. Stresses the importance of external forces and influences, not internal traits for inner conflict. Learning approach behaviorism. B.F. Skinner wrote a book, Walden 2. In it, he describes a utopian society where people are happy and content because everyone contributes and benefits from society. Versus childhood socialization, people in fictional community want to be deceived as unselfish. Avoiding to Skinner, no one is truly free. We are shaped in wanting what is good for society in an early age. Approach. Focuses on role of learning by observation. Example, monkey see, monkey do. Studied impact on children of modeling aggressive behavior. Approach. His results formed his sociable cognitive theory. Personal factors, thoughts, beliefs, values, expectations, behavior, actions, and experience. Environmental factors, social, cultural, and political forces. cut. Self-actualization, desire to become most that one can be. Esteem, respect, self-esteem, status, recognition of strength and freedom. Love and belonging, friendship, intimacy, family, sense of connection. Safety needs, personal security, employment, sources, health, property. Psychological needs, air, water, food, shelter, clothing, reproduction. The trait theory.